Hi folks, we're back in the log cabin again now. We're going to try and do some reassembly work on the Piaggio moped, so let's get going. Right, well I've brought the main body of the Reliant Regal, the Piaggio moped back in here now. It's very, very dusty at the moment, needs a good clean. The paintwork still hasn't been cut back now, but it's nice and hard for us to do that when we come to finally give it its buff and polish up and all that. But until then, we've got some parts to reassemble and put back together. Namely, what I'm trying to do at the moment is to get the front end back together. Let me just show you what I'm up to. Well, as you can probably see here, I've got the front end assembly now painted up, and I've just started reassembling it now. I've got the shock absorber, which is bolted back on. The wheel hub is also back on now. That's been repainted, sandblasted and repainted silver. As you know, I've repainted the shock absorber black. Not worth getting any new ones for this. I'm trying to spend as little money as possible. Plus these was all serviceable items and all working correctly anyway. So I've had to get some bolts, because these two bolts here that went through the top here, when I took them off, they actually snapped off. So I've had to go out and buy some new nuts and bolts, so I can actually refix that back together, and that just goes in there like that, as you can see. That's where the caliper bolts onto. We've got the drive there for the speedometer there, and as you probably remember, all this was very, very tight when I first took it all apart. So as you can see, it's all been painted up now. We've got the new bearing race in there. As you can see, I've got some white grease on that at the moment, and I'm waiting to reassemble this into the shaft so that I can actually put the top bearings on as well. And as you can see up there, we've got the new bearing carrier in there as well, and again I've packed that with white grease in there as well, so that's waiting for me just literally to slide everything up into there. And if we come around the back side here, as you can probably see, I've also put the new bearing holder in there as well. That just tapped out there, the old one, and I've just tapped the new one in, and again I've filled it up with white grease. So we're nearly at that stage. I did go out and purchase, as I said to you before, a new starter motor there. That's the new one there. There's the old one. As you can see, it's basically a direct replacement. And this one, as you can probably see, you can barely turn that wheel on there. Very, very graunchy as well. And this one here, as you can probably see, that spins over a treat. So there's no problem whatsoever just installing that. It's a direct replacement basically. I've got the jets for the carburetor now there. The main jet there, that's a 165, a 65 main jet. And I've also bought two new exhaust studs as well, as you can probably see there. And two bolts for when I bolt the new exhaust on. And silly little things like, I don't know whether you remember, this is where that little plastic mudguard was held on via this little speed clip here, which I had to drill out. And again, those are the sort of things that can hold you up. I could put a nut and bolt through there and do it that way, but all I did, I went out and bought a kit, something like this. This was just sort of just over £5 on eBay, and in there you get a various assortment of different sort of speed clips. I'll be going for something like that one, I would imagine. If I bring that over there, that will just clip over there. Just need to get a screwdriver to open that up with. This may be too small, this one. Oh no, there we go. Just like that. And then literally all we have to do is literally just push it over there. And hey ho, I've got me fixing back to just put a screw in. They give you a screw in the kit for the little plastic mudguard sort of thing there that goes there. It's a little short mudguard sort of thing. It's not actual mudguard, it's like a dirt shield, I suppose. So that's that back on. So I've just bought some bolts, as I said. I'm going to have to put these two bolts back in there. And likewise, all I've brought here is just a general set of metric bolts. This is only a cheap set. You can spend lots of money on bolts if you want. I'd probably be a lot happier with them in there, to be honest with you. Right, okay then. So what I've actually had to do here, before we actually bolt this shock absorber back in, I've had to get the speedo cable and also the brake hose. And they've got to be relocated before we can actually insert the mudguard, for example. So I've had to get this out, and this has actually got to come through where the shock absorber bolts in and where the suspension arm comes. Let me show you. If you can probably see there, that little slot there, that's where we've got to get this cable through, as well as the speedo cable as well. So we've got to pull this forward basically, and just get this through this little hole there, as I say, because you can't actually put that in once the mudguard and the shock absorber is bolted in place. So that's got to go through there like that. And that's exactly the same with the speedo cable as well, which has also got to go through there before we can actually bolt this back into place. So now they're both going through there. So that's that. So we can get the nuts and bolts now. And the bolts I've actually cut down. So as you can see, there was a lot longer. And that goes through there. These are nylock nuts anyway, so they won't come undone. Like that. So I'm just going to do these up and then bolt the mudguard back into place in that position like that, with the two cables coming through, and then hopefully then we should be ready to stick it up into the main chassis. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay then, so we've bolted the mudguard back in place now. We've got the hoses coming through there. Little thing like this can go back on now, I suppose. Again, if I was refurbing this for a restoration, I'd probably replace that. You can buy them on eBay still, but that just literally just clips over the top there. As you can see, just got the word Vespa on it. It don't actually do anything, to be honest with you. It's actually a trap for water and silt. So I tell my brother that he could probably renew that if he wanted to, but that does tend to hold rubbish. Right, I think we're basically there now. As I say, I've got them two cables coming through now, and we can just slacken off this and bring it over to the bike. Right, so that's our front end basically back together, and I need to bring this over to the bike now, over like this. And again, this is where you could probably do with two people here now, because that's got to go up into there. Cable goes through there a bit. Like that. This is where it becomes top heavy, so I'll need to hopefully bring this down so that the weight can go back onto the actual bike. Again, a bit awkward on your own. Shout, oh, you come just at the right time. Come here for a minute. Okay. Can you just hold on? I'll take that back for a minute. Can you come around this side and just stand here and hold that like that? You got it? Okay, stay there for a minute. Can you push that up now? Oh, can you hold it there for a minute? Just hold it there, baby. So I need the bearings to go in first. Bear with me, you alright? Stay where you are. You hold it like that for a minute? I have to, don't I? Yeah, you do, baby. Stay there. Oh, it moves. Yeah, I know it moves. I just said to stay there. Don't worry. You're okay. You're doing fine. You're doing fine, my love. Yeah. Push it back up again. Push that back up. That's it. You got it? You stay there. Get some of this old lube up there. The old white grease. Bearings. The top race goes on. You can, in a minute you can let go. So just push it up a little bit more. Just give it a wiggle. Keep going. That's it. What you're doing is perfect. That's perfect. Go on, keep going. Keep pushing it up. Don't force it, because just as I'm taking the slack up. Right, just little wiggle. Right, let go.
Let go.
Well, I mean, stand. Give that a turn from side to side. Right, I'm just going to. Can you take that bit of pot out of the way? That pot there, look. That's it. Let me just lay it down. That's it. Let's just go. Move that back a bit now. That's better, right. Nearly, front's nearly on. Okay, yep, you're fine now. Just move that back now on that cloth. That's perfect. Well done. Well done, baby. Couldn't have done it without you.
You can't do a lot of things without me, love.
No, I know, honey bunch. So all we've got to do now is to just take this up so we've taken all the slack out, but we're not pulling on the bearings. And then all I've got to go on the top then is this single one, which is lugged, as you remember. That holds it in place, and then we can tighten down on this one. This is the one you don't tighten down on. This is the one which is your adjustment ring. This one locks everything down in place. So that's what we've got to do next. brilliant. Okay, so everything's tightened up as it should be now. As you can see, we've got a lovely headstock now and main steering bearings that have been replaced. I've actually put the brake caliper back on at the moment. I'll give that a good clean up as well, and also connected the speedo back up. I haven't put this little plastic cover on yet because I've still got a clip to put underneath for the little side mud guard that actually goes on there, as you're probably aware. I won't do that until I put the wheel on. Now if we just have a look at the engine, as you know, I've got this new starter motor here to go on as well, and I think we might as well just quickly zap this on now. So let's take a look at that. So as we can see here, what we've got are these two bolts that hold it on, and also there's a rubber seal which sits inside there, as you probably know. And I'm just going to put a bit of a smearing of grease in just inside where that rubber seal sits, just to ensure that we've got some sort of protection and it don't grunge up when we push it back in. So I'll just take that off there. And yet again, I've forgotten which way it goes back. I'm going to have to refer back to my video to find out which way it come off. It could have been that way, or it could have been that way. I'm not too sure. I think it was this way, but I'm just going to check, so I'll see you in a minute. Right, so basically I've had to drill a bigger hole in there. There was one in there, but the termination we got here obviously is a screw fitting, and that obviously goes in there like that. Right, ensure it's nice and tight. Okay, and then slide the protective cover back over the top there. Now that's that back one on, and again making sure that your spades are actually clean. This one is, so I'm happy with that. And that just drops in there, making sure that O-ring's on there. That's seating in there. The bases are seating. Yep, so that's fine. I'll just dip that in the bit of grease there as well, and hopefully that will help the screws, if they tend to get corroded right underneath the bike where this is situated. So I'll just whack that screw back in there, get a start on that one. Do the same for the one around the back. You see it, so this is right underneath the bike, as you know, so, and I think can't get on there with the extension socket. Typical, isn't it? All these little things. It's like when they design these bikes or anything nowadays, they design it to be put together by a machine, well, not a human, because for a machine there's no hassle factor involved, and for a human there's bags of hassle factor involved. Right, again, very fine thread, so don't over tighten them. That comes on there like that, and there we go. Happy days. New starter motor on. Right, there we go. I hope you can see that we're actually moving forward now with the build, and it should be only a matter of time before the thing's back together now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut this up for the moment now, and I'll just carry on tinkering about putting some more little bits and pieces together. You haven't really got to see that. In the next video, what we'll be doing is de-restricting the moped, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. As I say, I've got the new main jet that's coming now, and we'll have a look and we'll see if the variator, or the front pulley of the variator, has got the spacer bar washer in it, and we'll also try and dig the exhaust out and see if that has some sort of restriction. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to join us in the next video, and we'll see you then. Until then, bye for now.